hi, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing a review on Orange episode 11. I know this is really late, but I thought I might as well do one anyways because you guys might be wondering what I feel about this. And I feel like a lot of people are having some very aggressive reactions to this, and I kind of just want to give my input on it. So in this episode we see a flash to the future where they're talking about how this one night, specifically New Year's Eve, is pretty much one of the nights that ensured that Sua and Naho would get married in a sense. Sua's being all gloomy and makes me really sad when I watch it and whatnot, but he's talking about how he stole Kakeru's future and that Kakeru and Naho obviously would have been together if not for his death, and Naho assures Sua that she still would have married Sua regardless because of a certain event that happened where Sua confessed his feelings for her, and there's a bunch of feelings and emotions there, and if you've watched it you know what I'm talking about. But anyways, we flash back to the past, present, whatever, where they're making plans for Christmas Eve and for New Year's. And Christmas Eve, Naho and Kakeru are supposed to hang out, and for New Year's everyone's supposed to hang out together. And it turns out that Kakeru actually doesn't make it to Christmas Eve to hang out with Naho because his grandmother gets sick, so he can't go. There's also this whole thing where Sua says, oh, he can't come, and Naho and Kakeru kind of accept it and whatever, and then they leave the group and everyone else is like, Sua, what are you talking about? Like, you're supposed to be there, like it says in the letters and stuff. And Sua's like, no, sorry, like can't go, blah, blah, blah. And then it cuts to the night of actual New Year's, and there's this whole thing where Naho has to be really careful of what she says because her and Kakeru get into a fight, and after that fight Kakeru and her aren't as close and a distance obviously is created between them. And then on the other side of that there's this whole thing where that's the night where Sua confesses his feelings for Naho, and Sua doesn't want to be there because he doesn't want to change that future into a future where Kakeru dies and Sua and Naho gets together. And you see that the group, Takako, Azu, and Hagita, are actually rooting for Sua in a sense because they're like, Sua, like you have to be here, like why aren't you here? And Hagita's talking all about how like they can't just change the future because it's not only changing their futures, it's changing other people's futures, and how people are actually rooting for Sua and Naho, but they're also rooting for Kakeru to be alive, and there's a whole bunch of feelings going on, and you're just you feel so many emotions because you're like, you want Sua and Naho to be together because Sua is the best boy, but at the same time you want Kakeru to stay alive and to survive, and it's just a really troublesome situation where you don't know who to root for. So we have that whole thing where Sua's trying to stay away, and we end up obviously with Kakeru and Naho alone, and obviously they get into a fight because obviously, and Kakeru ends up leaving and Naho is left alone, and Sua is there to comfort her, and that's the end of the episode. In this episode they adapt chapters 17 and 18, I think, from the manga, and they do a pretty good job of it from what I remember. And okay, let's just get right into it. Everyone's hating on Naho. Everyone thinks Naho is the most stupid person ever, and yes, it's very frustrating because she literally has the journal or the letters which tell her the main things she says that are not good things to say to Kakeru, because Kakeru is having a tough time with his grandmother being sick, and obviously he'd be alone, and that's what he feels like, he'd be alone if his grandmother were to die, and Naho's trying to comfort him, but not in a very good way, and she ends up saying some stupid things, and Kakeru just relates it all back to how he thought his mom would be fine, and his mom ends up committing suicide, and Kakeru's feeling all these feelings, and it ends with Kakeru running away and smacking Naho's hand and just being like, don't talk to me, stay away from me. And Naho of course tries to call him later after Sua's help to pep her up, but Kakeru smashes his phone and that happens. But okay, yes, it is very frustrating to watch Naho do these things when she has a letter, but at the same time, like, I don't want to say cut her some slack because yes, we're dealing with Kakeru's life, but at the same time you kind of have to understand and put yourself in that situation. If I was in that situation, I'd be feeling so much anxiety, and like I would definitely slip up. I would probably say something wrong as well, because in that moment your brain is going in so many different directions, right? Like yes, you have to save Kakeru and you're trying so hard to say the right thing, and you're it's a lot of pressure, and I don't think you guys fully understand. Like, I know it's really dumb. Naho's an idiot and she says stupid things, and obviously she messed the whole situation up, but at the same time, some of you guys are thinking Naho's like the most stupid person in the entire world, but at the same time, I feel like you have to put yourself in her situation. Think of the pressure. You're literally the one who's like trying to save this person's life, and just, oh my gosh, that's such an incredible amount of pressure. Like, I'm sure any one of you would slip up and say something wrong. Like, it's like situations in real life where you have a script you put for yourself and you're like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do when I talk to this person. Like, say you're gonna talk to your crush, you're like, okay, this is what's gonna happen, I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna say this, but life never goes to plan, regardless of what the letter says. The letter, that future whatever, has been changed. Different events are now occurring. Like, Naho couldn't predict exactly what Kakeru would say and exactly how she would feel and what he would respond and react to what she said, and it's really frustrating because I understand where you guys are coming from, where you're saying Naho's stupid. Like, yeah, she is stupid and she's dumb and she says stupid things, but at the same time, like, you gotta put yourself in her shoes and like cut her some slack, because I imagine I'd make the same mistake, because I would just feel so much pressure that I'd try to say something right and I'd probably say something wrong, and it's just really frustrating for so many people to hate on her that much when it's like you really don't know until you're in that situation. I'm sure I'll probably get a lot of hate for that, but whatever. I'm saying it because that's how I feel. Also, let's just talk about Suwa being best boy, and even though he had the chance, he knows what his future is, and this kills me so much because we're not only focusing on Naho and Kakeru, we're also focusing on most of the other members as well, especially Suwa, because if you think about it, Suwa has his whole life ahead of him. He knows what's gonna happen. He knows that he's gonna marry Naho and he has a child with her, and that must take so much strength to know what's gonna happen and know that's what you want to happen, and to just push it aside and be like, no, I can't. Like, I want Kakeru to survive. I want them to be a thing. Like, I will sacrifice my future for their future. And like, that must take so much of a person. Like, that is the most unselfish thing you can possibly do. Like, he knows what he could have, but he pushes it aside because he wants them to be happy. He wants Kakeru to survive, and who knows, maybe Kakeru would have survived even if he didn't push that thing aside. Like, even if he might have confessed to Naho, maybe Kakeru still would have survived, but he doesn't take that chance and he doesn't confess to Naho, and he just lets her know that he's gonna be there for her and she shouldn't stop trying for Kakeru and she shouldn't give up on him, or herself for that matter. I don't know if I already said this, but this was the night where Suwa confessed his feelings to Naho in the future version of them. This night, Kakeru and Naho get in a fight. Suwa confesses his feelings to Naho, and it's pretty much that moment where Naho realizes that she has feelings for Suwa. Maybe not at that moment exactly, but afterwards, when Kakeru passes away and Naho is left alone, like, Suwa's there to comfort her, and like, this was a huge moment for their relationship and one of the main reasons they end up getting married. Suwa knows that this is a huge moment for him and Naho's relationship, and yet he still pushes it aside because he wants to save Kakeru and Naho, and like, just best boy. Guys, this was just a very emotional episode because we have the Takako, Azu, and Hagita trying to get Suwa to do what they think is the right thing, but at the same time, obviously everyone wants to save Kakeru, and then we have Naho trying to save Kakeru, and then we have Kakeru having all these feelings where you see he's not fully over, obviously, his mother's death, and he's struggling with his grandmother being sick, and then we have Suwa being the best boy Suwa can possibly be, and there's just a lot of feelings in this episode, and I love this episode, and this is where you really see the emotions and the feels and the way that this manga anime like completely destroys you. And so many people are like commenting on my videos, or I've seen talking about it, and they're like, is Kakeru even gonna survive now? Like, Naho totally ruined it, and like, just watch the rest of it or read it. I highly recommend reading the manga because the manga is amazing and goes into a lot more depth in my perspective, and you really feel the relationships between the characters more. The anime is good as well, but I enjoy the manga a lot better and definitely would recommend reading it. So overall, this episode was an emotional roller coaster, and I I don't even know what to say. Let's just see what happens in episode 12. Thank you guys so much for watching my review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you guys for being so wonderful. And I make a bunch of videos a week, and bye!